I just listened to the Bully album by Kanye West. Should I feel guilty?
It's been a long time coming. Fresh new ties, I'm still running. It's a few things I'm overcoming. Running checks, still clear, still think about it every night and day to try to stay away to keep my heart hit. So don't take this as disrespect. I'm sitting here trying to redirect her.
In short, you know the guy, controversial sometimes inspirational, but always something in the culture and the world. Mr. West himself, or Ye as he's now known, put out an album now. And as a DJ, former DJ enthusiast with a DJ video channel, I always kind of listen to things that are out there of interest, especially the bigger ones. I was hearing about the SoFi concert, 70,000 people sold out. So, I thought, let me just browse through the album. As a Christian, browse through the album, see what the vibe is. And I was very, very pleasantly pleased by a lot of stuff. First thing is the sound. The overall sound was back to the soul loops, back to the soul samples. He called himself that, a soul sample guy. The sped up and slowed down samples, the Mickey Mouse samples, very sparse beats. And his raps felt on this particular album like they were somewhat cleaner. I didn't listen to it and just hear the usual barrage of profanity that you hear on most new music, including R&B, which is why I wanted to just bring this argument as such to the forefront in this video. Secular music or gospel music, can we as Christians listen to both with a clear conscience? So like I said, I dipped through the album and I was pleasantly surprised, and I'm still kind of enjoying it. 18 songs. Welcome back, Mr. West, as such. Now, we know who he is. We know his heart is somewhat of a schizophrenic vibe where he's sometimes good, sometimes bad. I remember when he released the Jesus album, even Christians and pastors were praising it and welcoming it to the fold and saying how great it is that he's turned his life around. Now he's doing it for Christ. But does the Bible actually say that Christians have to make gospel Christian music? Can Christians, God-fearing, Jesus-loving people, make secular music and literally be, sin-free for doing so? So that's the question of the day. So we checked out a few tracks on Kanye's album, and I wanted to highlight this one called Preacher.
This ring that I hold, this ring that I hold, I give to you.
Break it, they ain't let us in. We pass on the settlements. This path I don't recommend. We pass what they expected, man. I go where they never can. I float, I don't never land. When it's dark, you don't know where you go. Need a light bearer to lead you home. I go where they never can. I float, I don't never land. When it's dark, you don't know where you go. Need a light bearer to lead you home.
I picked this one because this was the one that kind of struck home as the more kind of spiritually close one. As you know, he does go there sometimes. He made a whole album going there, so we know he can. And at the time, the Jesus album, which he made, people were bigging that up as something that was, very sound in terms of theology and Christianity, and everything he was saying was very well received. So everyone was happy. But I just wanted to point out a few scriptures in regards to how we as Christians navigate the world of what we listen to, what we bring into our ears, therefore into our minds and hearts. And Philippians says, whatever is true, whatever is beautiful, whatever is excellent, praiseworthy, think on these things. So this is like a filter that we can use for everything we encounter, because ultimately we are in the world, we're in the fallen world, and we're seeing things and hearing things all the time that could be perceived offensive to us. But we focus on the good. See what I mean? So even a secular groove can carry a beautiful connotation that points back to the Creator. I definitely felt that on this Kanye album. Like I said, I was pleasantly surprised. And also in Corinthians 10:23, it also says all things are lawful, but not all things are beneficial. So it's not outlawed. There's nowhere in the Bible, in the whole book, that it says anything about you cannot listen to regular music. And as I said, as a DJ, I've got like 20,000 records somewhere. I've listened to everything for many years, from funk, soul, jazz, hip hop, house, all that stuff. And it's about the heart of the person, because I grew up on Nas, Mobb Deep, MOP, some of the more kind of aggressive hip hop, NWA in the 90s, all that stuff I grew up on and listened to and played without no awareness of what I was really hearing lyrically, but it didn't turn me into, a beast, a gun-toting criminal who wants to rob people or whatever, after hearing songs like this, Anti Up.
Take names off, take things off, take chains off, take rings off, blank slips yeah, they came off, and they off.
Which essentially is about robbing people. It never influenced me at all, because of, as I said in that Philippians, it's like, my heart wasn't that person, so therefore it didn't flip me out. But he's made a great album, I think, and that's why I just wanted to give it somewhat of a review, but not really a review, but just speak about the kind of the tug of war that we have in our hearts as Christians, who are trying to make sure we guard our ears and listen to the right stuff. And obviously the more Bible bashing types will say, no, you can't listen to any of that, you have to listen to pure preaching music and what's considered gospel music, even though there's secular style music sound-wise being made in every genre right now, and being labeled as gospel. There's like the Christian rap charts, there's the Christian house music. I mean, listen to this song. This is apparently is a Christian house song that I heard the other day.
I stand tall through the fight. I stand tall in his light. Jesus anchors deep inside. No storm moves me, no tide unshaken. Jesus holds me strong, lifting heavy, faith on fire, pressing through, taking higher, unshaken. Jesus holds me strong.
So there you have it. See, the energy and everything about it is from secular influences and what's being, what's out there and what's popular. But they just add a few Christian words to it, and and ultimately the point is we never know the hearts of the people who are making it. They might claim Christian, but they could be, doing all kinds of stuff that's not righteous per se. So that's my point. It's like whether it be a Kanye West or whether it be a Jonathan Reynolds or a Kirk Franklin or whatever, the heart of the person is more important necessarily than what they put out and who we accept and don't accept. So the point is, there's not a banned music list, and like I said, as I started DJing and doing my DJ sets on my DJ Dodge channel, you should check that out, DJ Dodge World. I was quite torn about getting into hip hop, early hip hop, and doing mixes, because I felt, some of the lyrics, when they start cussing and robbing people and stuff, I would feel very torn. But I'm now kind of thinking, okay, after some studying and some research, I'm realizing that there were no styles of music that are banned in terms of the Bible for us to listen to. It's all about what is in the music, how it makes you feel, whether you're taking it on in a way that makes you believe it and live it, which, as you know, that's why I don't like some negative music now as an adult, because I know there's a lot of young minds out there who can't differentiate between reality and creativity, as such, art you would call it, and they're actually going out there and pew-pewing and doing violent crimes and stuff based on the music, the energy from the music that they get. So in that sense, I do understand why some secular music is like, come on now, can we let's stop doing this, to the point where it's the most popular music. Historically there's been all kinds of artists that have had questionable hearts. James Brown made great music, one of my favorite artists ever, but he also was an ex-criminal, served prison time, and he also used to put his hands on his women regularly. James wasn't a good man in a biblical sense. He wasn't a good person as such. And several others, I'm sure, back in the day, some of the ones who died from drugs and did all this other stuff, had very sketchy pasts, and we still love their music. Marvin Gaye was a very troubled man. He had an album called Troubled Man, and we still love his music. So it's all about you and I, the listener, and how we perceive what we're listening to. And I'm giving myself a pass on this, basically. I'm saying to myself, Rod, DJ Dodge, you've been hard on yourself about your walk, and you don't want to fall off, and you don't want to be influenced in a bad way by this stuff, but you also want to enjoy sounds and frequencies and the stuff you like. And like I'm saying, this new album by West is definitely in the pocket of what we love about the old Kanye, the college dropout Kanye, graduation Kanye, where you feel in the soul samples and some of the melodies and chords are so nice and everything as a grown up into music. So yeah, it was very enjoyable. And I want to just kind of finalize this message by saying, if you're having a similar kind of feeling about your secular versus Christian gospel music, and you're kind of like trying to walk the line, but you're feeling any minute you could fall off either side, relax, okay? Do some research, read the word, read the books, and realize that there is no music that is banned in terms of what we can and can't listen to. You know what I mean? Nothing is unclean in itself. That's what Paul said, basically. It's about how we interpret it, you know what I mean? And how we take it in, and what it becomes within us as such. I'm not an idol worshipper, so I won't find myself at a Kanye concert, with goosebumps as he walks out. I wouldn't really find myself there, but that's always been my MO. Literally from when I was, 18, I used to meet loads of people as a DJ in the UK clubs and everything, and I don't have any pictures with anybody because I've never been into that as such, walking up to people and befriending someone because of the status I see them on. I've seen them all, a lot of big names over the years, and I just wanted to just to make this quick video and just talk about it. So yeah, check it out, and like I said, be free, love the Lord, be free, and don't go too hard on yourself.